All right, let's move on to our next series, which will be Eskiya versus Avanhokie, PVT.
Very nice. And just to clarify, Snap, we don't have any walkovers this week. It'll just be,
Correct, yeah.
got it, 4 sets, 4 best of 3s.
Yeah, and this will be the second one.
Cool. All right. Yeah, definitely more comfortable and more excited to be casting a Protoss game.
Mhm. Both more comfortable with the Protoss matchups for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so spawning here in the bottom left from Team Beast, we have our orange Protoss, another orange Protoss for those of you who got Python and Minecast, Avanhokie, and in the top right we have MVP Marine King, which I'm assuming is then Eskiya Prime.
Very nice. Very flashy, fancy name. Hopefully he lives up to it.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know a ton about either of these players. I've seen Avon around, and he is a caster, so he has done some casting. I
Yes, he's
know
also on
Eskiya
Team
played
Beast.
a few games earlier in the season, but I don't know if I've seen anything recently from him. So, should be some fun games.
Yeah, I'm hoping Marine King lives up to his name and just goes for like a deep six, two, just full bio in TVP.
You want to see the TVP bio?
Oh yeah.
We've had a couple games like that. I believe like early on, Ranko versus Scuzzy. Ranko did some bio plays.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it doesn't happen to me, I'm cool with seeing all sorts of weird, funky builds, right?
For sure. Hey, maybe it'll happen to you. You're playing a PVT.
I am, and the Terran's also going to be on your team, Snipe. So I hope you don't give him any weird ideas, man.
Not feeding him any info.
Caster integrity, dude. You don't share the secrets.
Okay. Don't tell him what you're weak to.
That's right.
No, but I've been practicing a bit with him, helping him prepare for your match. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Let's
hopefully
see.
it wasn't enough, and he'll lose to me.
Sure. So far things are looking pretty standard. We got the gateway and the simulator coming up for Avanhokie here. Rare barracks and supply depot. Kind of putting them side by side here. Create a little bit of a wall choke in case Avon was trying to do some early zealot harass. Doesn't look like we're going to see that out of him. He could still produce a zealot maybe here, but I don't think he's going to.
Yeah, overall, pretty basic stuff. What I'm wondering about is what is this SCV doing here? What's going on here with this little guy?
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's already an SCV scouting the Protoss base, so what's going on here?
Bottom right. Maybe for some kind of a proxy. That's kind of a
I'm
far
confused
place
now.
away to proxy, though.
Well, he's got an SCV at his nat too, so I have no idea what's going on. What's he going for? He doesn't have a gas either.
Bad rally? I don't know.
Goodness.
Maybe he doesn't know the map and he just sent 2 SCVs to scout? And he thinks it's like 4-player?
I don't know. It's weird. Well, he sees the SCV now, so let's see.
Okay, now he's bringing it back.
It was probably just a misrally. We are probably pointing out his mistakes. Oops.
Miss Rally, or maybe he thought it was a 4-player map or something.
No, I feel like this is week 10.
Yeah, you should
10.
know.
If you're coming into this game week 10 thinking match point is like a 4-player map, there's something bad happened. Who's your coach? You gotta talk to him.
Hey, you can't give them too much slack. They're #1 team here in the league.
Oh yeah. They've kicked our butts pretty much every time we played them. So
Yeah, there you go.
can't really fault them for doing anything wrong, right? Let's see. Yep. So it looks like a pretty normal 1-Rax fast expand. Yeah, his CC, the Terran CC is going to be so much quicker than the Protoss's base. I don't know. I mean, in this position, me personally, what I've been favoring recently is if I see the Terran do this, I just proxy like a robo right outside of their base, and then just make a reaver and kill the bunker.
You do the snow build?
Oh yeah. I mean, it if it's good enough for snow, it's good enough for me, right?
Yeah. I've tried that a couple of times against Dark, and I did against Sham the other day too. So
Very nice. Were they? Was it successful?
I went 1-1 with it against Dark and 1-0 against Sham. So there you go,
Nice.
2-1
Very
overall
nice.
with it.
Representing the cheesy Protoss race.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the SCV just
Showing my
checking all the
energy.
corners of the map.
Mm. I'm a bit surprised the Eskiya here didn't move his barracks up front. Like usually, you kind of want it to block the choke a little bit, because if Avon gets a bunch of Dragoons over here and can start hammering at the bunker, which you want to do to force the Terran to spend minerals, but he could easily just get a few Dragoons here and just run past the bunker and run into Eskia's base and start killing stuff. Uh, like the point of having this bunker is block it off so they can't get into your base and just delay until you get your tanks out. We'll have to see if Avon tries to take advantage of any of this or not.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Overall, it seems like just by the fact that the Terran has been mining from their natural for a long time, they even have a gas up, versus the Protoss's second base not even being completed yet. It's looking pretty rough for Avon. He's kind of entering, I guess the mid game portion of the game pretty behind.
This is interesting. So he's thrown down his 3 gates in Robo, which is pretty standard stuff after 28 next here and getting obs up. But he also threw down a forge. I'm not sure about that. It's pretty early for a forge. Like, unless your opponent's going really early starport for drops, there's not really any need to get the forge this soon. It's just like a little bit extra money that could have been spent elsewhere. Like right now, he has 1 gateway not making a Dragoon. If he didn't make a forge, he could be getting another Dragoon. Oh, just a little something to notice or take note of.
He also oversupplied like crazy. Um,
Oh wow.
yeah, he shouldn't. He doesn't need 74 supply. So a lot of that extra supply is in pylons he doesn't even need.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to not be supply blocked, but at the same time, if you're overcommitting like this, you're spending money on pylons you don't need that could be units you do need, or gateways, or in this case, Avon should have been taking a quicker third. I think the sort of logic here is Terran took a really fast natural, so he's not really going to do any sort of 2-fact or FD push against you. So I think it gives you time to take a really quick third in response.
Certainly. I mean, there's a couple ways you can play it. Like we talked about earlier, you could do like some kind of a Reaver proxy or something, some shenanigans of some sort. But for the most part, like when Terran goes for a Rax FE, the main thing you want to do is get yourself a fast third basis Protoss. Keep ahead economically.
Oh, wait, hold on. I want to point out here. Avon's building 2 cannons. I don't know about this.
I guess he's probably scared of Vulture run-bys, and he's hoping, the cannons can do some damage and kind of blocking off the wall here. But again, yeah, yes, later on in the game, add cannons like in and around your mineral lines to prevent Vulture drops or Vulture run-bys. But again, this early, it's just, extra money that could be spent. Like, you got a forge and 2 cannons there. That's 150 minerals that could have been spent on another Nexus already that could be finished up, and you'd be mining from 3 bases right now.
Yeah, I personally don't think it's necessary, since the Terran, their mindset is to just sort of build up and play safe, right? I'm not too sure. I think him taking his third so late is just gonna put him really, really, really far behind.
For sure. And it looks like Eskiya here is gonna go for a 5-fact follow-up with this. So he's gonna have a pretty decent mid-size or mid-game army. Whereas I don't know if Avon's gonna be prepared for this. He's adding another gateway now, but he's gonna be on 4 gates versus 5 factories here. Normally you want to be up in gateways, factories not down. I mean, he's taking his 3rd Nexus now, but if he had that a couple minutes sooner, and was already mining from it, he could afford 6, 7 gates, something like that, and be able to hold off this 5-fact just fine. But as is, I'm not like, you can look at the supplies; they're even, or actually the Terran just got a little bit ahead, and that's usually bad for Protoss in this matchup. So, I mean, we'll have to see how it goes. But,
Yeah, because in this case, even though Avon's looking a bit behind, I guess it doesn't matter too much if both players play really defensively and, Avon just takes his third, takes his fourth, fifth base, and neither players really do anything, then it doesn't matter in that case, right? But as of this moment, if, Eskiya or the Terran is willing to be aggressive and push their advantage, they can definitely do some damage with, the macro coming out of 5 factories. It's definitely more than enough to overpower 4 gates of production.
we do see Avon throwing down a bunch more gates now, 4 more, so he's going to go up to 9 gates. He's also getting a Stargate, so we're going to see some Arbiter check, I imagine. But he still hasn't actually started mining from this third base, and Terran's just about to get his third base up and running too. So at this point, Terran's just getting further ahead, I think.
It's a bit of a tough situation for Avon to be in because, in general, he seems to sort of be behind in every sense. His econ's not that great. He doesn't really have a third up and running yet. He doesn't have a lot of gateways or a lot of supply. He's actually 10 supply below the Terran, and he also doesn't really have fast tech. So he's sort of, there's really no compensation for the strategy he went for, which was to just basically kind of have delayed tech, delayed units, and a delayed third. In general, you want to have at least, you want to be ahead in at least one of these areas.
Yeah, usually in PvT, you want to be ahead in 2 things, that being number of bases, number of production gateways, units kind of deal, or tech. Usually you want to be ahead in at least 2 of those things over the Terran. If you're only ahead in 1, or you're behind in all, then you're gonna have a bad time. Like, it's gonna be a bad game. You're basically behind at that point.
Yeah, so luckily for Avon, it looks like Eskiya is just going to be content with kind of safely securing his side of the map while he expands. Because I think if he were to be aggressive, he has a almost 20 supply advantage over the Protoss. He can just A-move his way to victory. But he's being too cautious, and I think he's... what might be happening here is he's kind of too used to playing like the single player type mode. He's not really paying attention to what his opponent has, and he's not really thinking about his advantage in the game at this moment.
Mm-hmm. We have a dropship here at the bottom of Avon's base. It's been sitting there for a little while and hasn't let the vultures out. So, I mean, Avon can see this now. This definitely could have done a lot of damage and killed a lot of probes. Okay, he is unloading now. But there's been no reaction from Avon yet, even though the dropship's been sitting there for a while. So he's going to kill some probes and force them to run. He's got 3 vultures here, just hammering down some probes. It could have done like some more damage or less damage if Avon was paying more attention. But I mean, it's nice, killing some probes, forcing him to stop mining for a little bit, just kind of further increasing his lead.
Yeah, and I do want to point out again, I don't want to keep harping on this concept, but really, these 2 cannons at the Nat for Avon, didn't really pay off at all. Mm-hmm. Oh, and it looks like Avon's going to be attacking. I really don't think this is a good idea. He needs to have an observer sort of over the army so he can assess the situation.
Yeah. I mean, in general, as Protoss, you don't want to attack into a fortified Terran position unless you have overwhelming numbers or something that can turn the tide in your favor. That being like ARBs to stasis big groups of tanks, or even the cloak from ARBs, or like Psystorm to storm big clumps of tanks, some zealot bombs to drop on the tanks. But especially attacking up a ramp, the advantage you get, the mischance you'll have as Protoss attacking up there is just going to make it so bad. I'm glad he pulled back.
So Snipe, I think the armory is just about to finish at 14 minutes. So despite Eskiya having pretty solid macro this game, he completely forgot about upgrades.
Okay, yeah.
Which can be a pretty huge factor because the whole point is once Terran hits that 3-3 mech army, that becomes very, very difficult to stop. but it's much easier if they're unupgraded.
Yeah, so this is like about the time the 2-1 mech army would be coming out. It's slightly smaller and it's unupgraded, but it's still not bad. Like a pretty good timing coming out of Eskiya here, moving across with his tanks and vultures. He is going to be attacking up into the ramp, it looks like, which may go good, a little bit better for Avon, but he's still, I mean, Avon's still behind in supply, and the Terran army is just a lot stronger. So we'll have to see how this fight goes, but I'm liking Eskiya's position a little more.
Yeah, this just looks like too much Terran. It really does.
Some nice zealot bombs coming out. There he gets one. Okay.
Really, really nice. Yeah, Mind Drags and Zealot Bombs though, but it's still not enough.
And he like didn't attack with at least one group of army. If he had that in there, maybe if it was a more coordinated attack. Even traded a little bit better than I was expecting, but he's still behind in supply. And Eskiya, as long as he keeps rallying over units and keeps making units, I think he's gonna eventually be able to run over this.
Ooh.
Oh. Okay. So that was good. He's getting the zealots on top of the tanks. Very nice. I mean, that was a pretty close fight. Basically, both players just traded armies there.
Yeah, but the biggest factor is Terran still has. They're still up in supply. Not all the tanks were killed. Oh my goodness, and these mines are doing so much damage. Holy crap.
They both had a fourth base up and running for a little while. Or not running, but up. But neither of them are mining from it yet.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious the players were much too focused on the action in the middle of the map, but definitely, had they just spent half a second to transfer over some SCVs, this could have translated into a pretty substantial economic boon for them. Let's see. And at the end of the day, Terran has a much bigger bank as well. So we need to keep that in mind.
I'd like to see him throw down some more factories, and he is now. If he had those a little bit sooner, he could afford those units sooner. But better late than never.
Yeah, so it looks like he's moving up to 9 factories. A pretty solid amount. And yeah, these vultures are so cost efficient right now. Doing so much damage.
Yeah, luckily for Avon, he hadn't transferred a bunch of probes over yet, so he only got a couple of probe kills from those vultures, but
I guess that's one way to look.
It's still like a mistake not having the probes there. I mean, he could have walled this off or built some cannons to kind of deny this from happening sooner as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So it kind of looks like the Terran, after their first push kind of got broken, they've sort of fallen apart. Or their attack kind of fizzled out. I really like what he's doing, though. He's being super active on the map. Still no mining at the 4th due to the aggressive vultures. And he's laying mines everywhere, which is really, really good.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, a lot of the time Protoss will have observers with their armies against letter. They'll just forget to build them and be moving their army across the map. Or you can also just have them out for vision, right? You can track the Protoss army movement, kind of know where it is.
Exactly. I mean, I don't think there's any offside to it. If you have the APM, you have the ability to do it, you should do it. Because, exactly as you were saying, say the Protoss sees it and they kill it, that's APM they have to spend. And if they don't, they just walk their units into it and lose a bunch of stuff. So it's, either way, really, really helpful.
Yeah. And Eskiya now is mining from his bottom right base here. He's getting that mineral and gas income, whereas Avon still isn't really mining from his top left. Throwing away some vultures for free. I don't know about that, but I still think, Eskiya is in a pretty good spot here.
Yeah, I mean, one big difference, the 4th base for the Protoss, not mining, versus for the Terran, definitely mining. Yeah, so the Terran's econ is much better. Upgrades are decent. We already have 2-0 for the Protoss, but at the same time, I mean, upgrades are good and all, but he doesn't have enough units out on the map. He's down supply. He should be at least 180, 170 in order to confidently engage in a fight.
Yeah, or even more. One thing I will say though is he is actually ahead in upgrades. I mean, he's got 2 attack upgrade on his Zealots and Dragoons, where Eskiya is still at 1-1. I mean, that's in part to do to his late armories, but he's not actually using those armories to get another upgrade at all for his tanks and vultures. We're gonna see a couple of zealot bombs here on the tanks in the middle. Okay.
Very nice. So he killed like 4 tanks with just a few zealots. A couple things I think might be helpful.
Oh, the arb's gonna go down.
That's so rough. Had he just gone for a recall in the main, as I was gonna say, this game could have changed. Like he's down in supply, right? But one Hail Mary recall pulls the Terran army all the way back to defend. He does a bunch of damage anyway. I don't know. I think the recall's too OP to not use.
It's definitely a good
no
spell.
stasis from the Arbiter.
I wonder if he even has it.
Maybe he has enough energy, but
Yeah,
had
he
he
definitely
clumps... Oh.
I mean, he's gonna clean up a lot of these tanks still. He's not gonna win this fight, but with reinforcements, he could clean it up.
I don't know. I think this was a pretty solid trade for the Terran.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's got a bunch more stuff coming across, and he's gonna lose another Arbiter. Oh, that hurts.
Yeah. So something worth noting, to Avon specifically and other players, if you're going to be investing in gas heavy or just expensive units in general, supply heavy units like Arbiters, you should be making you should be maximizing their usefulness, right? Like that Arbiter that died for free, it had 200 energy. We don't know when it had it, but as soon as you had 150, a recall could have been done, and that might have changed the course of this game. Or had he stasised that huge big clump of tanks, that fight could have gone differently.
Yeah.
So
A good stasis on those tanks, and all of a sudden he wins the fight, and he's not in this position where the Terran's kind of sieging up at his third.
right, because it doesn't make sense to make Arbiters if you're never going to use them to do what they're made for, right? If you don't stasis, if you don't recall.
Yeah, that goes for any unit though, right? Like Templars, if you're not going to storm with them, Defilers, if you're not going to plague or swarm, you know. Oh, that mine could be huge. Oh, nice.
It's pretty big.
Got it. Okay. So, I mean, it's a decent engagement, but he's just so far behind in supply now. Like, the Terran is almost 100 supply ahead. He's 80 supply ahead in any case. And, like, if a Terran gets 80 supply ahead, the Protoss is only mining from 1.5 bases at the moment, and they're not even fully saturated. Like, I don't know.
There's not much.
It's not good. Yeah. I mean, Eskiya's got good mining on 2 bases still. He's about to mine out of his natural. Looks like he's got an SCV getting ready to take the 12 o'clock base as well. It's not looking good for Avon. I mean, he's got a huge bank, Eskiya does. He's still 70 supply ahead.
Yeah, this game's pretty much over. There's no way for Protoss to come back from this. His econ at the moment is too weak. He never went past the upgrades. But the thing is with upgrades, they matter when you have the ability to, when you're maxed and you're able to re-macro up really fast, upgrades are super, super valuable. But if you're down 60 supply anyway, you could be 3-3-3 and you're still probably going to lose. So yeah, and this position is definitely really rough. And
We got an Arbiter flying here into the bottom right, but it doesn't have enough energy for recall yet. So,
it might just die to these turrets. No, it gets through.
Has a little bit of health left. I mean, he might be... I was going to say he might be able to do a recall if it just sits there long enough. But he's got no units really to recall.
Where are the vessels from the Terran? He's just been scanning this entire game.
Yeah, that's a good point. No vessels whatsoever. I don't think we've seen a vessel at all this game. Very useful to have. I mean, first you detect any cloaked units under the... Oh, here's the recall. The 5 Dragoon, 1 Probe recall.
No way. This is gonna do. These SUVs can stay and kill everything, man.
Except they can't see them.
Yeah. That's why you had that science vessel. Boom.
Yeah. Not only that, like getting a D matrix on a front tank or a targeted tank or EMP even on the Protoss army, all these things are good. You know, you want science vessels for these things, even if you can't get the Arbiter. Yeah. Is he gonna actually kill this base with the 5 Dragoons?
It looks like it, but at this point it doesn't even matter. He already has
Yeah.
the 12 is halfway done building, and he's got so much money banked up.
No, for sure. I mean, and now Eskiya is like 100 supply ahead, so more than 100 supply ahead.
Yeah, pretty funny. He's got like random factories everywhere. Some of his 4th, some of his 3rd. None of it is not.
Yeah, I don't see any way back. I mean, maybe if Avon could kill off all these tanks and take a couple of bases or something, since he killed one of the bases, and Eskiya spent like a lot of his bank, maybe. But he's
He
just
built
got
a
a
Reaver.
Reaver.
No, what? Reavers don't do anything against siege tanks.
I mean, if you get a big scarab off in the middle of a clump of tanks, you can kill a bunch, but the tanks are just gonna outrange it and kill it at this point.
Yeah, at this moment, that's probably not what he needed.
I don't think there's much he could have done though. Like,
Yeah.
he can't even kill off these tanks at the moment. And Eskiya's just flooding over a ton of units now. A bunch of vultures and a few Goliaths.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely opportunities for Avon to maybe have done something. He did have that full energy arbiter just sitting around for a while. But yeah, I think like a moral here maybe is if you're too passive and you kind of if you're too slow in taking bases and you kind of let Terran build up, like this pretty much is what happens, right?
And there's the GG.
GG, well played by Eskiya.
Yeah, I would like to see more vessels up from him though in the future. Like, they're just really useful in both Terran matchups, Terran versus Zerg and Protoss. So
Yeah, his upgrades were also a bit lackluster as well. I think he ended the game 1-1, maybe 2-2 finished, but in a different game, you know, where Protoss wasn't as behind, not having clean upgrades, that could be a big deal. I mean, in this case, it wasn't, but it's something to pay attention to.
All right, a little bit more standard map here now. Game 2 between these two on Circuit Breaker. See if Avon can bring this back.
Got it. Well, I would say Match Point is a pretty standard map, Snipe.
Yeah. This is more and more standard. Closest thing you're gonna get to Fighting Spirit that isn't Fighting Spirit.
Yeah,
that's
fair. All right, so we have the Terran just took the game 1-0, so now we'll have to see if he goes for the same one racks fast expand, and if Avon's gonna try to change up his strategy, maybe go for faster bases, or
shout out to Chess.
Dang, what about Shoop and Snipe?
Yeah, come on now. We're the ones casting your games.
What a jerk.
Wow.
What a jerk.
Well, let's go Avon. Come on, Avon.
He might as well have typed Shoop and Snipe or chop liver.
Wow.
I've never been more offended. Oh man.
Don't you feel the love? Anyway, here we have another orange Protoss actually. They're just coming out in droves here. These orange Protosses, Avanhokie, and I guess our yellow Terran, and then Eskiya up the game. Yeah, I'd like to see Avon be, you know, the forward, not get that forward so early, and expand a little bit quicker than he did last game.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm pretty sure once you're trying to take like a 4th base, maybe you add the forwards, you start your upgrades, you start adding cannons at your expansions. But by adding it so early, it gives no value. You know, he built 2 cannons, and they kind of sat there not attacking anything the entire game.
Yeah.
Right? So, really, that 300 minerals or whatever could have easily been a quicker next. You can throw it down at like 6:30, 7 minutes. But last game, he tried to place it at like 9.5 or something. Just really, really late.
For sure. Well, we'll have to see. Looks like so far standard stuff coming out of Avon here. He's getting his gas. He's getting his core up. And we're not seeing a zealot block with the depot racks this time. He's building his racks closer to the ramp. Maybe he's going to go for that racks FE again and actually use the barracks to wall off a little bit more.
I don't think so, since we do see him mining from his gas. This is probably going to be a more standard game.
Okay, yeah.
I think in this spawn, if he moved his barracks over and he built a factory above it and to the right, that'd be a probe-type wall.
Yeah, I think it's the same on Fighting Spirit. You can actually do it factory and racks. Yeah. Makes a tight wall.
I think you should have gone for that, because in the off chance that Avanhokie does like a Zealot first build, or a 9/9 proxy gateway build.
Okay, so Avon is changing it up actually. He's going for 2 gates. He built 1 Zealot first. He's just gonna leave it on the ramp here. But he is gonna do some 2-gate Dragoon pressure.
That's pretty unlucky for him, just because of the fact that they're cross spawns, and if he wants to put pressure with his 2-gate build, it's going to be that much more difficult.
He did supply block himself for quite a while. He was at 1717, and
but then you don't have the double pylon like this.
I mean, I guess he's thinking, I got to spend the money now that I wasn't using, so I'll just make an extra pylon. But yeah, I mean, that comes down to working on your build. Just forgetting a pylon early on sucks.
Yeah, but he doesn't need this pylon. The 100 minerals here can go to a quicker Nexus maybe, or a quicker Robo, or whatever he wants to go into.
Yeah, normally when you do a 2-gate build, you'll have it'll be 2-gate with a Robo. So you can get the obs out, kind of detect mines if there's any kind of early pressure or mines and vultures from the Terran. It looks like he's just going to throw down the Nexus here off of a Zealot and 2 Dragoons.
And there's also a lot of Marine production. He's going to have, I guess, 8 Marines soon. I'm not sure if he researched mines or siege from... Okay, so he's building vultures. I'm curious to see him... Curious to see why he hasn't researched the mine upgrade. Pretty unusual.
Yeah. Maybe he just forgot or something.
Yeah, because I'm not sure if that's going to be on time. Yeah, the 2 vultures are going to be out, and there's going to be no mines.
Interestingly enough, he's still choosing to push across the map with the Marines and tank. After seeing, he scouted the 2 gateways. So he should expect there's going to be a lot more units than normal.
Well, also, Avon's moving out across the map with his Zealot, so he might just lose it completely for free.
Now, maybe he noticed Avon was supply blocked himself or something, because he built the 2 pylons and only had 1, and that's why he's moving out. But normally against a 2-gate, this is just going to die really easily and be not worth it to move across.
And also he doesn't have... He's pulled probes to help fight. He's pulled this push, but he doesn't have goons building from his gateways. He has 1, but none of them are queued up.
Oh, he's targeting the tank. Yeah, nice little bunker block there.
Dang, that's such a low HP tank. 1 more Dragoon shot.
Yeah, I mean, this did more than it should have being 2-gate, but that goes back to him supply blocking himself, which is, I mean, unfortunate, but this is what happens. This is why you don't supply block yourself. Eskiya doing a little bit of micro. Okay, he gets the tank. So he's not going to die from this.
He can micro the crap out of this vulture. These are just probes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He does have a couple more Dragoons. He should have a couple more Dragoons popping out here. But, no, for sure he took more damage than he should have.
Oh my god! Oh, that could have been so huge. Every probe could have died at the net. Damn.
You were hoping for it, weren't you?
Yes, I was. Would have woke me up. Oh, yeah.
So he does clear out this attack. Um, Eskiya has expanded behind it.
Oh,
Like,
again, he went for the fast forge. He
oh
doesn't
no,
need the forge. He has goons. Goons.
who's his coach? Beast.
Yes, it is.
Beast
Yes,
Dragon.
Avon's on our team.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen him. I've seen him PVZ before, I think, not PVT, but yeah, I guess it's as the A teamer on his team, I accept full responsibility.
Especially being a Protoss player.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I have zero excuses actually.
Yeah. And this just comes down to, I guess, not knowing the flow of the game or the builds in PvT. But it's things that can be corrected fairly easily. Just working on the builds, learning some builds. Interesting. Okay, he's gonna go for a Reaver. He's got a robotic support bay.
Very nice.
And we do see a starport out now from Eskiya. And getting an add-on, so maybe he's gonna go for some dropship.
And it seems to me like the thought of going for Reaver was more of an afterthought. Because in general, if that had been his goal from the beginning, I think, the Reaver could have been out like a minute ago or something like that, right? So for him to be going Reavers this late, it's definitely a lot riskier. By the time you're moving out and trying to Reaver drop at like 9 minutes, the likelihood of Terran having defense, like missile turrets, stuff like that, it's much higher. So
For sure.
yeah, I'm not sure if this is a good idea to be deciding to go for like 8-9 minute Reaver drops.
We'll have to see. Terran at the moment doesn't have any turrets up or any real defenses in place for this.
Oh, and he's also I noticed he went for a fast starport, but he's actually about to finish a dropship.
Yeah.
So obviously Avon skipped observers to get a faster Reaver, so this could be really, really problematic for him.
Yeah, we'll have to see what he wants to load up. It's going to be 4 vultures, 2 tanks, or vultures and tanks. And he did actually scout the dropship with that probe. It's going to be 4 vultures.
Yeah, he definitely noticed because he's pulling goons to defend, which I do like.
Yeah, that's good. So he noticed the dropship. He's positioning his goons to intercept it. So that's good. Not take as much damage. Actually, he got the Reaver before a shuttle too.
Yeah,
so it's going
I
to be
don't
even
know
more
about
delayed.
that. I think the shuttle is actually much more useful, isn't it? Like, cause then you can load it with zealots and zealot bomb if the Terran pushes.
Getting the shuttle first, like where the support bay is building too, right?
So he went for a fast forge. He saw the dropship, but he has very little dropship defense. Okay, he does bring up some goons, but I don't think 2 goons is enough, especially if these vultures can just come up and.
Oh, he's just gonna run away.
Well, I guess that works too. Drop some mines. Drop some mines.
Alright, he's getting a probe kill here. A couple probe kills.
Oh, I
Now the
don't think
vultures
he
are
laid any
gonna go
mines.
harass the other. Okay. Good mine. Good mines.
Oh, and in the meantime, he's pushing up right to the front of the
Oh no.
Protoss base. This is actually such a good idea. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so this is doing more damage than I would have expected. Meanwhile, Avon is bringing his Reaver in for a Reaver drop.
What? 5 HP.
Oh, he's
tank.
gonna lose it.
What?
He lost the shuttle at the bottom.
With the Reaver in it?
Yeah, he dropped 1 zealot, but he lost a zealot and a Reaver
that's
in the
rough.
shuttle as well.
I mean,
this is.
It's understandable because there's so much going on right now that oh my god, those goons. No.
No, this is really bad for Avon right now. I mean, he invested so much into the tech, and then just to lose that, and he's not mining from his natural. Where Terran's 2 bases are unharassed. I mean, Terran again is up 20 supply here.
Yeah, it looked clear like Eskiya was taking advantage of his higher APM, and just really just making the Protoss like split his attention, right? Like, okay, you want to micro your Reaver in the shuttle, but you also have to defend this attack. There's vultures at your main and just stuff hitting you in the net. It's a really tough thing to deal with as the Protoss player, especially if your APM isn't very high.
I mean, he did clean that up.
And
I don't know if you saw that mine drag into the 2 tanks, but
I didn't, but Avon's going for another shuttle and Reaver. Like I said, I mean, the first one came so late, you couldn't even drop the Reaver off. I really think doubling down like this and building another one is just a mistake. I don't know.
all right, we got another dropship flying up towards the main base of Protoss too.
The heck, he's got one of each unit. What on earth?
Getting a nice mix. But honestly, like, Eskiya's bank is getting up there. Like, it shouldn't be this high this early on. If he had spent that money, imagine that as being, another 10 tanks or something.
Yeah, and also something worth
just kinda
noting: these
pushed
mines
it
at the Nat Snipe. I'm not sure if you noticed. If I was the Terran player, I would want to drop here, right? Like, hopefully you bait the Protoss units to come and walk across the mines, and then just
Blow up all their probes.
have them shoot themselves in the foot, basically, right?
Yeah. Alright. Forces another probe pull. Avon's gonna bring back his Reaver to try and defend this. I hope he doesn't drop it like on a mine. Okay. Oh no,
He's
he's
gonna
gonna
walk
crawl
into
into
the
the
mine.
mine.
Okay, no, he doesn't. Yes, he will. No, he doesn't.
Yeah. So again, dropped it a little bit more than he should. At this point in time, I don't mind having the forge, but he should have made like a cannon or something. Knowing,
Oh my
like,
god, wait.
Okay, Terran's dropping.
Our unit's gonna be baited? Holy crap. Holy crap. Holy crap.
I
Money.
don't think it's gonna matter because
Money.
all the probes are gonna die.
Damn. I guess it didn't matter. I mean, obviously having the mines explode would have been fancier and flashier, but the same thing essentially happened. So, virtually.
He does lose a couple units to those mines still, though.
So much damage is done. He's up.
Yeah.
Oh my god, how much supply is that? 50 something supply? 50 plus supply?
Yeah, he's just in such a bad spot. Like, he has a dozen probes in total.
Yeah, and on top of all this, I really like the fact that Eskiya has been able to add up a bunch of factories macro consistently from all of them. He's building Valkyries.
What is this?
This is style points, pure style points. I can't think
What
of
is
any
this?
real benefit.
I mean, maybe he's sending them out to pick off the shuttles, but in that case, I mean, wraiths? I don't know.
Oh my god.
Oh, and the shuttle's flying right through some turrets. He does get the Reaver out. Okay, nice. He got a few SCVs. I mean,
But-
it's too little too late, but it's still nice
Yeah,
to
these
see.
are just pennies.
Also, Avon's trying to take a third base while his other 2 bases aren't even fully saturated or mining. He
And
can't
there's
really
a Marine
afford
just
this.
hitting this third.
He can't really afford this while still producing units and making more probes. But again, at this point, it doesn't matter. I think Eskiya's just gonna win with this push. He's got way too much.
Yeah, when you're 60 supply ahead as the Terran, you can just aim move in really nice mines. Really tripping up the crap out of these dragoons. Jeez.
And there's the GG.
Yeah, well played by both Eskiya and Aggie. Both of the, you know what, all the B teamers we see from Chobos with Attitude, I really want to see how they stack up against A teamers from other teams, because these players seem really good. I don't know.
Yep.
They have a
Maybe we'll
stacked
have to
lineup.
challenge them. You and I'll have to challenge them. Challenge some of their B teamers.
No, well, not publicly. It'd be embarrassing for lose.
You don't want to do a stream? Snipe and Shoop against Chobos with Attitude B team?
You know, I find stream sniping a deplorable activity, and it's anybody that does it is a jerk.